Hello and welcome to today's video. I am both nervous and excited today to bring you my first ever eyeshadow focused project pan. I'm finally going to jump on the pan those eyeshadows train and do this. This has been a project that has been all over YouTube for the past couple years. I believe it was started originally by Alexy more than a couple years ago, and I occasionally watch these videos and am just in awe of people because I've always been someone who I've panned a single here or there. I picked a shade out of a palette once in a while to pan, but I've never ever tried to just straight up pan eyeshadows. I've always kind of stuck in my comfort zone of face products. But I'm finally feeling either courageous enough or maybe ready enough to finally do this. And so I'm gonna dip my toe in this eyeshadow painting world and do this Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge. But anyways, I think this intro is long enough. Why don't we go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, as we get started today, I want to introduce to you my rules for this project. I am trying to make things easier on myself. I don't want to like make things super hard and then this end up being a failure. I would love for this to be something that I do long term. So traditionally people pick 5 to 6 shadows to work on. They randomize them from like a long list of the eyeshadows that they have. I am going to do 5 shadows. And you probably won't be able to see it very well, but I did create a list. I have 4 little spreadsheets here. I have all of my eyeshadows that I have access to here. Then I have a sheet where I've listed eyeshadows that I'm okay hitting pan on. There are certain eyeshadows that I've left out of this. Like for instance, I don't want to work on a million black shadows or a million like dark shadows that I think will be really hard to pan. I traditionally don't use like deep dark black shades anyways. So what I ended up doing was picking 1 or 2 from different palettes that I thought I actually wouldn't mind working on as like a liner or something like that. And I've included them in a sheet. But also I have to admit to myself and to y'all that there are a couple shades in my collection that I just love so much that I honestly think hitting pan on some of them would give me like anxiety because I'm just not quite ready yet. They feel too new, or they feel like I don't want to have to replace them, or I don't want to feel panicked about replacing them. So I've left a couple of those shades out, but for the most part they're all here. So in all my eyeshadows, I have 358 in that. In the ones that I'm okay to pan, I have 299. So you can tell I left out a good number. But like I said, some of those are just black shades and some of them are really special shades that I don't quite want to hit pan on. And then also to make things a little bit easier for myself, I went ahead and created 2 different lists, a warm tone eyeshadow list and a cool tone eyeshadow list. And today I'm going to be pulling off the cool tones because in the wintertime I wear more cool tones, and I just think I'll be more successful in this project if I end up tailoring shadows and pulling shadows that I want. Now the warm tone and cool tone lists, some of them have overlapping shades. For instance, if I just really liked a shade and I didn't mind working on it in like a cool tone time period of the year, then I went ahead and put it in the cool tone thing, and then same thing in the warm tone area. I hope this isn't too confusing, but in the warm tone category we have 238 shadows, and in the cool tone we have 213. So like I said, today I'm going to be randomizing 5 shades from the 213 that I have listed in the cool tone category. Also, before I randomize shades, I am going to try to hit pan on these guys, but I'm also going to give myself the option to switch things out when I hit 20 uses. Like if the shade is just not working for me after 20 uses, I'm going to let myself have the option to roll it out, if that makes sense. Okay, enough with the introduction and rules. I am so excited. Let's go ahead and pick some numbers. So I have a random number generator here, 213 shadows to choose from. Let's generate our first number, 80. Okay, number 80, we're off to a good start. I was actually hoping to work on this palette in the winter time because this is just such a winter like color palette for me. This is from my Truly Madly Deeply Colourpop palette, and the shade is Golden Gate Bridge, which is perfect. I feel really lucky to at least gotten one like easy transition shade. It's definitely more cool tone. I have the worst hands for swatching on, but there is the shade right there. Again, kind of a neutral to cool tone transition shade. I'm really actually excited to have this one. Okay, let's pick our next number, 109. Okay, 109 is another palette that I'm actually excited to have pulled. This is the Lorac Pro palette. This was a palette that I actually would love to be able to focus on for the year and hit multiple pans in this palette. And the shade that was chosen was this second one here called Canvas. This is a really, really light shade, almost like you would set your eyeshadow base with it, but it also can be used as like a really nice like high transition shade, or if you want to use like a deeper color as a crease color, you can kind of blend it out and soften it up on the edges with this shade. So I'm actually, again, really excited. I think so far I wouldn't have expected 2 really light shades like this, but I'm not hating it. Okay, let's pick my third shadow, 94. All right, number 94, the third shade is coming from my Just a Colors Friendcation palette. I'm so excited. It's this shade right here called Try Me. It's a red shimmer shade, and it's really, really pretty. Although I'll admit, I always reach for other shades in this palette. I rarely wear this one that often, so I'm actually really excited to roll this in. It's really pretty and very reflective. There is a swatch of it, and so far this works really well together. Okay, time to roll in the fourth shade, and I just mumbled my way through the fourth shade, but it was shade number 5. Okay, and shade number 5 comes from my Modern Renaissance palette. Honest to God, this is like the perfect lineup so far. These are all palettes that I was hoping to kind of roll into this project eventually. I didn't expect them to all roll in the first update, in the intro. The next shadow is this shade down here called Cyprus Umber. It's a very deep, dark shade, so I imagine this one will be in for a while because it is super pigmented and you don't need a ton of it. But how perfect is this little color story? I would love for this next shadow to be a metallic if we can help it, so fingers crossed for that. All right, and the 5th shade is gonna be number 195. Okay, shade number 195 is coming from my Sigma Enchanted palette. I just got this palette. I'm a little nervous to try to hit pan on it, but at the same time, I think I need to try to rip the band-aid off and use it. So we're gonna go to this shade called Moonglade here. It's a really soft kind of pink tone. I'm actually really excited for this because I have like a warm tone kind of red, a like pink tone kind of shimmer shade, and then I have some nice transition shades. This is actually perfect. I'm actually so excited for this. I wanted to get into this and not be overwhelmed at first, and I actually really feel like this is just a nice starter story for me to work on, and I'll get my bearings, and then hopefully as we move on, I'll get more colorful options. But this honestly couldn't have started out better for me. I'm honestly just thrilled. Again, this is what the color story looks like, and I probably will pull some extra shimmers from these palettes once in a while to work on. I'm not someone who loves to repeat eyeshadow like looks. I like to mix things up, although I know that to hit pan on some of these, I will have to repeat shades and looks once in a while. So it'll be a little bit of a challenge for me to learn to wear some of these shades, and I'm just gonna have to be used to like re-wearing certain looks from time to time. But either way, I am really excited to work on this. I will do my best to film some looks for these updates, but I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're excited to see this from me this year, and make sure please wish me luck in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.